Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Media Pulse, the show where we help you make sense of Thai politics.
Another busy week for Thai politics. We are sure that you must have seen plenty of twists and turns in Thai politics.
Yep.
But this latest one, we believe, is beyond what many people could have imagined. Two erstwhile political foes have decided to set aside their past animosity and are now joining hands to fight against one common enemy, that is former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. And 20 years back, these two gentlemen, Sondhi Limthongkul and Jatuporn Promphan, were standing on opposite sides of the political pole.
Yeah, so we have a very big plot twist here. Sondhi was a media mogul turned political activist, leading a mass movement that paved the way for the military to topple Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra in 2006. And Jatuporn was a die-hard supporter of Thaksin and a leader of the so-called Red Shirt movement, fighting against military intervention in politics. So no doubts, the two were openly at each other's throats then. But no longer.
Yeah. Now fast forward to 2025. The two men embraced each other like long-lost comrades. The scene was designed to be the highlight of a forum organized by Sondhi at Thammasat University last Sunday to send a clear message to the government of Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra and her father Thaksin. From now on, don't expect to sleep in peace.
So after all these years, Sondhi, who runs the Manager Media Group, has never eased up on his anti-Thaksin crusade. He has been hosting talk shows and posting video clips on social media, criticizing the Paetongtarn government and Thaksin on a variety of issues. His attacks center on Thaksin's preferential treatment at the police hospital and how the former Prime Minister exerts his influence over the Paetongtarn government.
Sondhi also raises strong objection to the Paetongtarn government's plan to legalize casinos and online gambling. He has also joined the chorus calling for an obligation of the controversial Memorandum of Understanding signed back in 2001 between Thailand and Cambodia. The document, better known as MOU 44, is supposed to pave the way for the two countries to resolve their overlapping claims and a joint exploitation of energy resources in the Gulf of Thailand.
Yeah, Sondhi argues that the MOU is disadvantageous to Thailand because it would cause the country to concede sovereignty over the disputed areas to Cambodia. Now, he's been successful to some extent in stirring up widespread nationalistic movement on the issue.
While Sondhi has been consistent with his anti-Thaksin stand, how does Jatuporn Promphan explain his political about-face? From being a staunch supporter of Thaksin to being one of his harshest critics.
Well, he has an answer. He's been saying this. He said Thaksin and his daughter's Pheu Thai party have betrayed the Red Shirts movement. So that's the argument. Jatuporn alleged that Thaksin was only using his Red Shirt supporters to serve his own political interests. He also said that Thaksin's ultimate goal, while in self-imposed exile, was to return home. And once he succeeded in doing that, he turned his back on his Red Shirt supporters.
Jatuporn points out that many Red Shirt activists, including himself, have faced legal consequences for their fight on behalf of Thaksin. Several of them have died or ended up in jails, but Thaksin has never offered them any help or shown his sympathy for these people or their families. The last straw, Jatuporn said, was the decision of Pheu Thai party to form the coalition government with political parties associated with the former military leaders who staged the coup that ousted the Yingluck government in 2014.
Yeah, Pheu Thai party leader Paetongtarn repeatedly vowed during the election campaign that her party would not form an alliance with the military coup makers. But in the end, she had to swallow her words and formed a coalition with Palang Pracharat and the United Thai Nation parties, which were set up as political vehicles for former military coup makers. So we know General Prayut Chan-o-cha and General Prawit Wongsuwan in the 2023 general elections.
Jatuporn is now leading a newly formed political advocacy group and has been a frequent interview guest of political news programs in which Thaksin and Paetongtarn are often his targets. And in their speeches at the forum at Thammasat University last Sunday, Sondhi and Jatuporn said they have formed a new partnership aimed at fighting against Thaksin's influence and opposing policies of the Paetongtarn government that they believe are damaging to the country.
But they kind of stopped short of spelling out what their plan of actions were, because they also did not say whether they intend to take their fight against the Shinawatra family onto the streets. Political observers believe that the alliance between Sondhi and Jatuporn may constitute a formidable force and should pose a new challenge to the Thaksin and the Paetongtarn government, especially over the sensitive issues like the legalization of casinos and online gambling and the controversial MOU 44 signed between Thailand and Cambodia. And not to mention the economic woes that the people are going through now, with the political leadership being increasingly questioned for its incompetence.
It is no surprise then that political analysts see these issues as potential ticking political time bombs for the ruling coalition. And the Sondhi-Jatuporn alliance formed at this juncture certainly cannot be underestimated.
So what does Thaksin have to say about the newfound alliance between Sondhi and Jatuporn? The former Prime Minister said he doesn't feel threatened in any way. And here's a quote. He said, "They don't deserve any attention."
Thaksin was speaking to reporters after giving a lecture on how the government should deal with the drug problems at the office of the Narcotics Control Board on Tuesday. His presence put an end to rumors that he had already fled the country ahead of a court hearing on the so-called Floor 14 scandal scheduled for June the 13th.
Yeah, while the Paetongtarn government insisted that the forum was for Thaksin to share his experience in the fight against drug problems, critics see it as an attempt to further raise Thaksin's profile and to calm down anxiety over the future of the Paetongtarn government.
Okay. It should be noted that several cabinet members, notably Deputy Prime Minister and Interior Minister Anuthin Chanvirakul, were at hand to welcome Thaksin. And Thaksin insisted that the Paetongtarn coalition government is strong enough to serve out its term, and that his daughter, Kun Paetongtarn, will continue to be Prime Minister without any interruption.
Well, the former Prime Minister also took the opportunity to play down reports about conflicts among the parties in the coalition government. An obvious question was about reported estrangement between his daughter's Pheu Thai party and Phumjai Thai party, the second biggest party in the coalition. Now, the two parties don't really see eye to eye on many issues amid rumors of the possibility of Phumjai Thai party being kicked out of the coalition.
Now, during the press interview, when pressed on the issue, Thaksin, you know what he did? He put his arm around Phumjai Thai leader Anuthin's shoulders and said, "Don't you see how we are still holding on to each other?"
Oh,
It was quite a show.
yeah.
But Anuthin wasn't looking that happy, and he was showing signs of feeling awkward.
Political analysts, however, note that friendly gesture carry little weight in Thai politics. They may make for good headlines and social media posts, but offer no guarantee of genuine friendship. And, you know, it has been repeatedly demonstrated in the past that a handshake in Thai politics can all too easily be followed by a stab in the back.
And these analysts believe that for now, the Pheu Thai and Phumjai Thai parties have little choice but to remain allied. This means both are willing to accommodate one another and set aside certain differences that may continue to emerge in order to ensure the coalition government completes its term. However, there's no guarantee that issues won't arise down the line that could push the alliance to a breaking point.
Yeah, they're better together.
That's
now.
right.
Yeah.
There's nothing certain in politics, especially in Thai politics anyway.
Well, let's move on to the developments on the 14th floor scandal. Again.
Again. And this scandal just simply refuses to go away easily, right?
No. So, the so-called 14th floor scandal refers to the time when Thaksin Shinawatra spent at the Police General Hospital from 23rd of August 2023 to 18th February 2024, when he was supposed to serve his sentence in prison. So he was sent there because the doctors and the officials at the Department of Corrections claimed that Thaksin fell into a critical condition. So he ended up staying in the hospital until he was given a royal pardon and returned home. And this controversy never stopped haunting him since.
And fast forward to about 2 weeks ago, after an investigation that found no empirical evidence to justify Thaksin being transferred to the police hospital, the Medical Council ordered a temporary suspension of medical licenses for 2 doctors involved. Another doctor was issued a warning. That ruling from the Medical Council was then sent to the Public Health Minister, Kun Somsak Thepsutin. As the honorary chair of the Medical Council, Somsak had to decide whether to endorse or reject the ruling. And not surprisingly, what his decision was something that many people expected.
Yeah, he rejected the Medical Council's ruling. Somsak claimed that their conduct, meaning the doctor's conduct, did not constitute a breach of medical ethics because medical practice is all a matter of discretion by the doctors. So it can be said that Somsak has close political ties with Thaksin as well. So maybe that influences his decision, we don't know. But Somsak has been around since the day of the Thai Party. And now let's look at this picture. So on Tuesday, when Thaksin gave a speech at the office of the Narcotics Control Board, Somsak was also there, along with Anutin.
Quite interesting. One day before his decision to reject the ruling of the Medical Council was announced, he was there when standing by Thaksin during the speech that Thaksin gave, and then even during the press interview that he gave afterward.
Yeah, exactly. So although the move was predictable to many people, it still has an ongoing implications that we need to highlight.
So what will happen next? The decision now will go back to the Medical Council, which requires 2/3 of its 70 members to uphold its decision to discipline the 3 doctors. But it doesn't end there, Kun Clare.
No, the decision on the 3 doctors can also be seen as a basis for the upcoming Supreme Court hearing on the 13th of June. That is when the Supreme Court's Criminal Division for holders of political office will probe into the enforcement of Thaksin's imprisonment. So simply put, does the hospital stay count as him serving his sentence? If not, does it mean that he has to go back to jail to serve his time?
No, the scheduled court hearing has been a source of rumors that Thaksin may not be here or may not be around when that day comes.
Yeah.
And Thaksin himself gave a rather ambiguous answer when he was asked by reporters whether he would be there at the hearing. He said, I may be there, or I may not be there.
But he was trying to give assurance by showing up for the speech earlier this week, I guess, because a lot of reporters asked him as well. He said, I'm still here.
Yeah. But there's no guarantee that I'll be there at the hearing on the 13th of June. Yeah.
Now, we have been following the news about the Senate for a while. On our last show, we talked about how the Senate selection became an issue that prompted the DSI, or the Department of Special Investigation, and the EC, or the Election Commission, to summon over 50 senators to give statements in regards to the allegations of vote collusion. Now, the senators then fought back by having the Constitutional Court issue an injunction that stopped Justice Minister Tui Sot-song from supervising the DSI. So that was when we talked about it in the last episode. So in this episode, we're going to pick it up from here. So the latest development this week is that the Senate is due to consider the petition whether or not to delay the proposal by a group of senators who wanted them to consider whether it's appropriate for them to select key people in key positions to supervise 4 very important independent bodies.
But the proposal for the selection process to be delayed has been turned down.
Yeah.
So the Senate will go ahead with the selection of members to a number of independent bodies.
Yeah.
So who are these people, the members of the independent bodies? They include 3 members of the National Anti-Corruption Commission, 2 judges for the Constitutional Court, 1 election commissioner, and the Auditor General. So you can see how important the role of the Senate is, right? Selecting members of independent bodies is one of the most crucial tasks of this legislative body.
Yeah, although the Constitution clearly states that these appointments fall under the duties of the Senate, this time it has become an issue. The reason being that over 1/4 of the Senate are being under investigation for serious criminal offense allegations by the DSI, like money laundering and criminal association, very serious charges. And which independent bodies are involved in the investigation? Obviously, the Election Commission is one of them.
That's why many political observers, politicians are raising the red flag on potential conflict of interest and are calling for the Senate to pause the appointment of key positions in the independent bodies, as we have reported.
So what did the Senate say? We have Mongkol Surasatja, President of the Senate, decided. He said he's not going to back down for 2 reasons. The investigation into vote collusion has yet to arrive at any conclusion, he said. And there's no court order for the Senate to pause the appointment of key independent bodies. So they decided that they're going to go on and doing that. Number 2 is that if they do not proceed with the task, they risk neglecting their constitutional duty.
So how did we arrive at this point, and what could be the long-term solution? It's quite obvious that many are blaming the rules of the Senate election, which are written in the Constitution, which we all know that is a legacy of the military coup back in 2014.
Yeah, so we have quite a multi-layered puzzle to solve here. Is it appropriate for the Senate to choose those who will in turn investigate them? If not, what do we do with the appointment of these key positions we mentioned? And if the Constitution is the core of the issue, then the process of untangling this puzzle could take years, because amending the Constitution is problematic.
Problematic, but don't forget that most political parties made amending the Constitution one of their key plank of their platforms, right? But look at what has been happening. We haven't really seen any serious attempts by any of the parties to try to amend the Constitution. Maybe they don't think this is something of top priority for the time being anyway.
Casino is more important. Well, I think we're going to leave it here for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you find it useful. We'll see you in the next one.